This podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors. Your San Diego County Toyota dealers. We've got what it takes. Fix Auto. Corky's Pest Control. And Lolita's Family of Restaurants.
Hey there, sports fans. Welcome to another week of high school golf coverage here on San Diego Prep Insider. I am Christian Pedersen, joined by my analyst and Francis Parker coach, Coach Jack Klein. Coach, thank you very much for being with you. We've moved indoors. It is gale force hurricane winds for some reason and some construction noise and all of that. So we are being hosted by the Parker Sports Medicine Division. They're a lovely office. So, Coach, only a couple weeks left in the season. Playoffs seem kind of set. So let's make our way down through what everything's going to look like, starting at the top, Division I. I'm assuming Torrey Pines still kind of controls everyone else's destiny?
They sure do. They lead D1. They're 15-0 overall, and they had nice wins this week. Also, I should lift up Caden Fioroni, who had a great 33, freshman, making their varsity team. So pretty awesome there.
So undefeated, is that something in the spectrum of golf hard to do? One team does it a year, one team does it every 6 months. Where does that place them in terms of how dominant this Falcons team is this year?
They're just dominant, and they seem to do that every year. They just attract great players from all over the world, and they do a really nice job of coaching them and helping them get to the next level.
Undefeated, though, with some freshmen and some sophomore in that lineup. So, I mean, again, not always, as always. Maybe we'll just call this the Torrey Pines report every week or something like that. Moving down the line, Rancho Bernardo, another Division I team who's locked. They're locked in. How are the Broncos looking coming into the last weeks?
You know, they are. They're number 4 overall, number 2 in D1, and good team. They're led by their 2 seniors, Sugimoto and Jin, who, of course, keep playing great golf, and expect to see them in the hunt in CIF. So certainly the teams that are right behind, really the top 10, but
there's 1, and then there's 2 through 10, all kind of
correct
bundled up together.
All have a chance.
Carl out in Division I, the Lancers might be at that 3 spot in Division I, but they could very easily catch RB, maybe have a shot at Torrey Pines.
Again, they're number 8 overall and playing good golf. They're led by a senior sophomore brother team, the Plusha brothers, and great play by them. They continue to have some rounds under par, and expect them to come into CIF really strong.
Last in Division I, Grips Ranch. They're 4 in D1. They're number 9 overall. Falcons got a chance?
They do. I mean, it sounds redundant, but anytime you're bunched in there, that's why we play the game. Also, a little different format in CIF. We play 18 day 1, day off. Day 2, we play 18 again, and quite a different format from throughout the season when we're all playing 9-hole matches. So you can see a different group that could maybe percolate up to the top.
It stretches you out a little bit. You have to have that endurance to make it all 36 holes, all 72 holes, however many you end up golfing. It's not just a one-day thing. It's a full. We're playing some real golf here.
Absolutely, and so that helps the teams that have players with experience playing tournaments and that play a lot of golf.
It's kind of a follow-up on that. For all the teams we're talking about right now, like you said, they've kind of got their spots locked in. We're looking at, there's not much wiggle room. Oh, this team's going to potentially jockey for 2 or 4 or whatever. Are golfers getting rest right now? Are you saying, hey, take a day off? You've got that looming 2 big days of golf. Let's just, you're going to keep practicing, but I don't need you out there working your drive, walking a hole 18 to take on a Mission Bay or something like that.
Great question, Christian. There's 2 schools of thought on it. One would be, yeah, it's great to have some rest, and after all, these are student athletes. I think that's really important to me, and I think it is really to, of course, all parents, but and schools. So there's a lot of work this time of year. You're coming
AP
into
tests. You're finishing up school. You got senioritis, which is, I'm sure, is a horrible disease afflicting half the teams in San Diego.
It is, and so you do have that aspect of it. But the other side of that is that golf being an individual sport, it's really important to keep the competitive edge. So the more competition you are, the more you're used to the adrenaline rush, the nerves, and it just, you can play at the next level a little bit easier. So I think going into the end, you just want to.
And that's not something you can simulate in a practice. You can put all the pressure on a kid to try and make a putt, but it's not ultimately the same level of intensity as it would be in a match.
I would agree. I mean, we do everything we can as coaches, and certainly the coaches that at the highest level, Torrey coach, they're looking to have their practices structured in a way where they have their block practice and their random practice, and then they got their games, and the games are important. And some of us call it transfer practice, but we're trying to simulate real conditions, but I think you would know that it's somewhere in the deep recesses of our minds. We always think, I got a do-over in there somewhere. If it is
just that
really
little bit of a safety net, a little bit of a comfortability.
Absolutely.
Well, if you need anyone at your practices driving behind them in the cart, creating some crowd noise, I'm more than down to add that intensity. Let's move down to Division II. Talk about some of the teams there. You got La Costa Canyon, you got Cathedral, La Jolla, looking like they're the 1, 2, 3. Give me a little bit of a run through how they've been doing and how they're looking at these last 2 weeks.
Great. So La Costa Canyon, 14-2 overall. They're led by their freshman Bo Jin and their sophomore Kento Yamawaki, and again, just really exceptional players, as you might imagine. Cathedral, 13-2 overall. Their freshman Shane French continues to play well. I know we've mentioned all these players before, but they just keep.
Well, we've settled into the point where it's not discovery anymore. It's now, these are no longer flash in the pan freshmen. They're legitimate talents.
Absolutely. And La Jolla High played an 18-hole match against Francis Parker on Monday, and again, they're the real deal. They're number 7 overall, and they've got a freshman, Nolan Ward, who I've mentioned before, wonderful young man, and he shot a couple of 35s last week. So, I mean, he's the real deal. He's there to play, and he's only going to get better.
It's great to see all these building blocks of competitiveness all across the county.
Yep.
Let's move now Division III teams.
Right.
Give me kind of a rundown. We've got SFC, Country Day, Sage Creek, your team, Park. Just tell me who's looking at what. We got a couple of golfers that we're probably going to mention again, but where does everyone stand?
So Santa Fe Christian continues to perform well. They're the number 6 team overall in CIF. They look really strong, and good group of young men there. They're led by
and women.
Yes, as a matter of fact, good memory. Led by their freshman Ryan Smith, and he had a pair of even par rounds this week. So again, continuing to play real well. Country Day had a really nice win over Pacific Ridge, and again they saw Crando Nishiba shoot 32, which is a great score. Crando's a really fine player, so look for them to do big things. They're number 13. Sage Creek, number 14 CIF, continues to do well, although they split this week. Their sophomore Dylan Menante continues his excellent play. Number 18 in CIF, Francis Parker, had a nice win over Horizon. They had a couple good efforts this week. Nicholas Trimble shot his career low. He's a sophomore, had a 37, which is a great play for him. And their top player at the moment, who we interviewed last week, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, Chase Smallwood, he actually holed out from the bunker on 8 and 9 this week, which is quite remarkable. To shoot 35 and getting a good win there. So a lot of good teams. Bishops is coming on.
A little bit of a late charger.
It is, and then D3, there will be play-ins each year. So top 8 teams there will be part of a play-in. So the 5 we just mentioned will all be leading that.
There's a little bit more wiggle room to try and sneak your way in and have that one good round that you've wanted all season long play well, and you can keep on staying alive.
Exactly.
Let's close out with talking about good rounds, because every week we're talking about this guy shot 32, this kid shot 34.
Right.
You were saying that there have been how many kids that have shot 36 or under this season? It's a really astonishing number.
You know, it's amazing. We have 36 players that have an index of under 2, which means that this is really good play, and in the San Diego region shows you we have over 100 players with index of 3, 3 and change or lower. So that means week in, week out, they would be playing in the 60s or 70s if they were playing 18. And I think all of us would say that's some really nice playing.
Try and put that into context, because I always like to try and bridge the gap from golf to every other sport.
Sure.
I feel like that's the equivalent of us saying that, last week or this season in basketball, 40-plus players have dropped over 20 points. It's a significant number to see this kind of a trend happening, especially when we're talking about so many young golfers.
It is, and I would say that is the equivalent of it. So you're talking about some really, really fine play. Admittedly, we are incredibly blessed to be where we are, and kids get to play a lot of golf year round, and
but they're taking advantage of it, and they're actually capitalizing on the opportunity to play really good golf.
Yeah, they are, and it's nice when we have teams like Torrey Pines, which really show us what's possible. Again, this is what's
possible. They set the bar a
possible.
little high, but
it's
real. It's reality. It can actually happen. It's not you see it only in a video game or only at that one Harvard Westlake school, and then everyone else is down here. It's an achievable goal.
Very much so. And, here's a team, and then Torrey we've mentioned, but they have numerous state championships. They won the state championship last year. So that's what's coming out of our section.
Well, we're going to close in another week closer to champions this week. We got 2 weeks left until playoffs get started. So Get out there, catch the last tail end of the season. We'll be here to bring you all the breakdown, and then I'll look forward into playoffs. Coach, thank you very much. What do you guys got going on the rest of this week?
So we have another match tomorrow at Aviara with Pacific Ridge, which we're looking forward to. They're lovely hosts, and they have a couple of really fine young women players on their team. Have a final match the following week, and then it's off to the Coastal Championship on May 1.
Very nice, Coach. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Christian.
Sports fans, we will see you next week with more golf.